Hello, I'm Cleopatra Wallace, and this video is all about Kaitlyn Armstrong. Now, Kaitlyn Armstrong is a 35-year-old yoga instructor, and she is from Austin, Texas. She's been in a 3-year-long relationship with a professional cyclist by the name of Colin Strickland. Like I said, they have been together for 3 years. He's 34, she's 35. But on May the 11th, he kind of went on a date with a girl that he was on and off with. Last time they were on was October. So spirit guides, holy angels, and ancestors, gather around, because tonight we're going back to Texas. Our last 3 cases have been out of Texas. We started out in Katy, Texas. Then we were in Uvalde, Texas. Now we're in Houston, Texas. But first, before we go to this zip code in Houston, Texas, I want to swing around to the NRA, the National Rifle Association 151st Convention. I just have a few questions, so we're going to do a quick fly on the wall for that. So spirit guides, holy angels, take us to Houston, Texas. And I want to be there on May the 28th of 2022. We're going to the George R. Brown Convention Center. At this convention center, you're going to find a whole lot of people. Oh, 2 came out. So, I like to start with 4 more. And since this is kind of an intro question before we get into the other case, I'm just going to get maybe 1 more, and then we'll see what's going on in this convention. Because I just have 1 question. So, spirit guys, like I was saying, we are at the George R. Brown Convention Center, which is located at 1001 Avenida de los Americas Street. And this is in Houston, Texas. Now if too many come out, I'll take the top and the bottom. Alright, so now we have our 4. And what do you know, there's guns all over these pictures. Alright, so like I was saying, we are going to George R. Brown Convention Center, and we want to go and have a peep around on the exhibit floor, where all of the vendors are showing their new toys and guns and equipment. All right. Now, as you know, it was a little tender around the subject of this convention because we just had an episode that involved firearms in Uvalde. So a lot of people was trying to stop this convention, but it went forward. All right. Now, one of the first cards that came out in regards to the convention is the 8 of Wands cards. And this is, usually somebody moving, going away to somewhere. Like I said, we're not too much looking at the customers, but also looking at, the vendors, just to see kind of like what the mood is. And this here has the energy of one of the vendors. He has his stuff ready to go to the exhibit floor and kind of show the customers what he got and how to use the new equipment and stuff like that. But he doesn't look very happy here. And it's probably because, it's when you're being a devil's advocate. You have to do your job. You really don't want to. All right. So that's the mood of one of the vendors, at least we know. All right. So the next card that comes out, and this is the mood inside of the convention center on May the 28th of 2022. We're in the zip code 77010. It's the NRA's 151st convention. All right, the second card that came out is the 4 of Swords. And this is, people resting while holding their weapons. She has hers in her hand. He has one in his hand, and we have 2 spare ones up on the wall. So, this is what you would expect to see at a gun convention, stuff like gun racks and equipment. But what they're pointing out to me with this card is this one right here. This is a woman holding this gun. And that might not be what you usually see at these conventions. But Spirit is making a note to say that there's not just men here purchasing guns. There also were a good bit of women there. All right. The next card that came out is the 9 of Wands. And that's for sure a whole lot of guns in that picture. And the Knight of Wands is usually about a burden, It's about having a burden to carry, the pressure of the situation. Now, this this is a little what you would not want to see at something like that. And this one, you can see these guns are they're on display and stuff like that, but this one gun here in the corner has a little bit of blood by it. And that's, kind of saying that one of the guns that was purchased there has already been used. All right. Next up, we have the Seven of Swords. And this is someone sneaking around doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. See, they're sneaking out while these other people are sleeping. But this card has the energy on it of there were people there buying guns that was not supposed to be there. This is probably like criminals or people with like sketchy background, They're not supposed to be there, but you see them sneaking around? They were there. All right, so I think we got what we wanted to see at the convention. Somebody buying guns that's not supposed to be there. Someone had already used one of the guns that was purchased there. There were women there this year, more than usual. And the vendors really didn't even like, having to be the one to push the guns, but it's their job. All right, thank you, Spirit. Like I said, right, that was a quick little pop in. Now, let's go to the story. All right, now like I was saying, Kaitlyn Armstrong is a 35-year-old yoga instructor who was in a 3-year-long relationship with a professional cyclist named Colin Strickland. Now, Colin Strickland had an on-again, off-again relationship. Get in there. Has an on-again, off-again relationship with another professional cyclist by the name of Mariah Wilson, but her friends called her Mo. And Mo was just 25 years old. That's right. This other woman was 10 years younger than her. So, if there's anything that'll keep a middle-aged woman up at night, it's the thought of a younger woman moving in on your territory. So, Colin and, all right, we have one, I like to start with 4 more. So Colin went and swung by and got another one and picked Mariah up on May the 11th. They went out to dinner. They went swimming afterwards. Sexy. And then after they went swimming, he dropped her back off at home. And she was renting a house in Texas in East Austin, Texas. She was renting a home in the 78701, or it probably was like an Airbnb, but that's where she was staying. She was staying in Austin, Texas, in the zip code 78701. All right, all we need is one more. I don't know which camera so you can see this better. All right. Yeah, so she was staying in the zip code of 78701. So after her and Colin went out, he dropped her back off at the place and pulled off. Not a minute after he pulled off, Kaitlyn pulls up. And when she just the sight of this woman that's 10 years younger with her boyfriend of 3 years, it was just too much for Kaitlyn to handle. So she immediately shot and murdered Mariah. And this was a very sad thing because, like I said, oh, all right. So this is quite a bit. So I'm going to take the top one and the bottom one. All right. So now we have our 5 cards. So back to the story. So Mariah got dropped off. Kaitlyn pulled up and shot Mariah and killed her. So I guess the next day or so, the police actually picked Kaitlyn up and questioned her and let her go. Next thing you know, Kaitlyn has hopped on an airplane to go to Texas from Austin. Then when she's she goes from Austin to Houston. Okay, that's important. She flies from Austin to Houston, Texas. She gets on an airplane in Houston, Texas, and goes to LaGuardia in New York. So this is where they lose their trail. And this is where we're going to pick the trail up at. All right, now let's look at these cards before we get more into it. And spirit guides and holy angels, gather around again, because we're no longer in that zip code as the convention. We are now in the zip code of 78701, and the date is May the 11th of 2022, and it's around somewhere between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. All right, now this is after the date when she's dropped off. And this is the shooting for sure right here. Because she, Kaitlyn was not messing around at all. She had purchased a 9mm not long after finding out about this. Now, you might be asking yourself, when did she find out about this whole secret rendezvous or a little affair, a little extra action on the side? She found out about this way in January. So she sat on that secret and waited for these two to get together, and bam. So this is her in the moment of it. Of course, we're going to clarify. That's the actual crime, that picture. Okay. So the next card out is the Fool. And this card kind of has the victim's energy on it. Not saying that she's a fool, but this is somebody who's they're kind of at the top of their life. Like I said, she was only 25 years old. She's a professional cyclist as well. Colin definitely had a type. He liked them fit. Kaitlyn was a yoga instructor, and Mariah was a professional cyclist. But this is her just thinking that, she's in town for a race. I guess they were just going to rub shoulders a little bit. Then she's just going to go on about her life. And also what I'm have to notice in this Fool is he's kind of out there in the open. This is broad daylight. He has his bags packed. You can see both his hands and his feet. I mean, she wasn't hiding at all. I don't think she was aware that he was in a 3-year-long relationship with Kaitlyn. She just thought she was going on a date with somebody that she had been on a date with previously. It wasn't even a stranger. There was supposed to be no harm. But we know that's not how that worked out. All right. Now, the next card that came out was the Moon card. And this card has Kaitlyn's energy all over it. Just a complete, her mind is being pulled in a million different places. And also, they're kind of showing me the way, like, the items are spread it out all over this card. Like, we have a fork, some kind of radiator thing, a backpack, and these canteens down here. This is a woman who had kind of laid her whole life out in front of her as far as her and this Colin thing is concerned. Because, 3 years is a long time for a 35-year-old woman to be in a relationship. Like, we're not getting married, we're not making babies. What are we doing? We're just wasting time. So this was kind of the mood of her at this point. Because her friends say on record that she found out about this affair way back in January. Now, she didn't kill the woman in May. And he hadn't seen the lady since October. She found out in January. And then when May the 11th came around and they had finally got together, she just lost it. So this is her energy. So we're going to clarify her a little more. But she was being attacked by, like, all of her senses. They're stressing out, like, every angle of her life was being attacked. Like, she felt seriously threatened by this woman. And they were both beautiful girls. One was just 10 years younger than the other. What you gonna do? All right, so the next card to come out is the Nine of Cups card. Now, this is, again, back to Mariah's energy. She was, I like her. I like her energy. She was feisty. She was, I guess she was, like, into, like, riding her dirt bike on the gravel. It was, like, a whole nother competition where you can ride on gravel or on pebbles or something. But as you can see in this picture, she's just kind of kicking back by herself. She was later on this year or early next year was scheduled to race, do her biking thing in Africa. Like, she kind of had a nice little plan for herself all mapped out. And then what do you know? Here comes along Kaitlyn, pulling, yanking her chain and stuff. Now she's gone. And you know why she's gone? Because of the Kaitlyn's here was just felt completely under attack. I don't like this at all. But at least their energy is out here. Good. It's a new moon. So Spirit is talking rather rapidly. Alright. Now the last card that came out in the beginning was the King of Swords. And who do you think this is? That's right. You guessed it. This is Kaitlyn's energy. This is the man in the middle. This is who they were fighting over. 34-year-old professional cyclist in a 3-year relationship with Kaitlyn. Alright, so we're going to clarify all of these cards. So let's start with the first card. And the first card that came out was the actual crime itself. When Mariah got dropped off. And he picked her up on a motorcycle and dropped her off. I mean, talk about being flirty and fun and fresh. She was really enjoying herself, was not expecting this. So, and tonight is going to be my first time using this new deck. I have been working with them for 3 days and 3 nights, and that's how long it usually takes me to get a deck ready to use. Alright, so Spirit guys, we're not at the LaGuardia Airport yet. Right now, we are still in East Austin, Texas. We're in the zip code of 78701. Mariah and Kaitlyn has just finished up their date. The time is May the 11th. It's somewhere between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. Mariah's been dropped off at home. Kaitlyn is pulling up. Did she always know that she was going to kill this woman, or was... Alright. So what came out is the Chariot card. And this is all about movement, but also it's interesting that they would pull this card. If I can get the glare. Okay. So, I was kind of reading over the some of the stories, because I'm going to be honest with you, I've only read like 2 of Edgar Allan Poe's stories, and that was like The Raven and the Telltale Heart. But if I can get it to shine right, there we go. So the character in this story is this older woman, and she's like married to like this younger guy or whatever, and she dies, and before she dies, the man promises that he would never marry again. But what do you know, after she dies, he marries again. So this is the first wife who somehow caused the new wife to like die mysteriously, and then the first wife took her body. So this card coming out during the time of the murder to me is very indicative of, she felt like this woman was taking over her life, you know, was about to sit in the spot that she wanted, and no. It was going to be a no on that. Like this, you got to think, a woman, after you die, you're willing to come back and take somebody else's body just to be with this man? So, I know some people are calling this a crime of passion, but I don't really think it is, because she's been plotting it since January. And she stalked that woman. Alright. Thank you. So, the next card is Mariah's energy, the day of the date. Now, the only thing I want to ask about this energy is, did Mariah know about Kaitlyn? Because they need to put new laws on the books that says, like, if you get somebody killed in a love triangle, that you should have to take responsibility for that. And you know what? They probably do have a law on the book that says that. Alright, so to clarify how much Mariah knew about Kaitlyn, we're going to use the spider deck. Alright, Spirit, so we are still in the zip code of 78701. We're in East Austin, Texas. we're outside now with Kaitlyn and Mariah. Did Mariah know about Kaitlyn's relationship with Colin? Did she know the nature of Colin and Mariah's relationship? All right. Didn't waste no time. Uh-oh, look at there. Would you believe it? This is woman's treachery. See the two women fighting over the chicken. And we're asking the question of, did she know? So the answer to that question is, yeah, she knew. They was ready to tear that chicken in half. But, we don't blame the victim or nothing like that, because I tell you what, as far as the DMV and the voter registration office is concerned, everybody had single on their applications or whatever they was filling out to go on these bike rides and start these yoga classes. On all the paperwork, they were marked single. So single people can do what they want to do, but, sometimes there's consequences. But she knew. All right. So now let's move on to this card, the card where Kaitlyn has just completely snapped and lost it. This is the moon card. And this is still on the date of May the 11th of 2022. So to get more about how Kaitlyn was feeling on this day, we're going to go to the Beauty of Horror deck. And I hope the air conditioner isn't too loud, but it was hot in here, so I had to turn it on. All right, Spirit. As we are outside of Kaitlyn's and Mariah's as we are outside, this card come out. As we are outside of the Airbnb with Mariah and Kaitlyn on May the 11th of 2022, between the hours of 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. How far was Kaitlyn willing to take her feud with Mariah? All right. We have these three. Look who out here again. The Fool. This is the same, it's the same card. And this is how Kaitlyn feels. And Mariah felt like she was starting a new adventure, and they're saying that she had the energy of a fool, but they're also saying that Kaitlyn had the energy of a fool. Meaning, like, this is her first time being this aggressive of wanting to, hurt somebody. I don't think she ever pictured herself stalking a woman and killing her. So she also was the fool in this. You know who wasn't the fool? Colin. He was having his cake and eating it too. But some say he was trying to break it off with Mariah, but she said she just wanted to talk it out for a moment. All right, now these are the other three cards that came out in regards to how Kaitlyn was feeling that night. The night of the date. Up here, you see this page of wands right here? Now, pages are notorious for being messages sent back and forth. The way this is here, like with this bright light behind him, and then these bats, like bats from out of hell. I feel like Kaitlyn was talking to somebody, messaging somebody while they were waiting. Like she was waiting for that date to be over. And also what came out is this Ace of Wands cup right here. I think they could be saying that she may have even had a little a drink or some liquid courage. But a lot of times when that adrenaline get going and you be real upset, you don't need no drinks or liquid courage. All you need to do is see the people that you're upset with, and that's enough. But she was messaging someone. This could be the same person that said when she found out about the affair in January that she was so upset that she was like trembling. Like, when was the last time you've been mad enough to shake? All right, so these are the next two cards. These all are still coming out during the confrontation, or leading up to the confrontation. We're still in Austin, Texas. We haven't got on any of the airplanes yet. It's still the May the 11th. It's between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. Now this here thing that this man is working on, this is one of those things from, like those medieval fairs. Like, you see the little holes? I think they're called stockades, to where you can put somebody's head through the hole and put their arms through the hole to where they can't get it, go away, or, can't move. And, you can throw rotten fruit at them or whatever. I think she may have been planning on taking this woman hostage. But you gotta think too, even though she's a yoga instructor, this other woman was 10 years younger and was a professional cyclist. So that was gonna be a physical fight if they had to, fight without weapons. But I think at one point, Kaitlyn must have considered taking her hostage or holding her somewhere. Yeah. One of those, I think they're called stockades. All right, so the last card, that was a lot of cards that come out on their confrontation right there like that. All right, so the last one that came out was the Three of Wands, and this is again with the with that same bright light, and it's a Wands card as well. Here's the one wand, the Ace of Wands. This one has 3. This was the person, whoever she was messaging, like her homegirl or friend or whatever, had time to call the police. Because Kaitlyn was, she was talking with someone the entire time. Because it was a love triangle. And this is the Three of Wands. There's 3 of them here. This is our triangle. And it's a little triangle in the back. See the mountain in the triangle? Yeah, those love triangles, they can be dangerous now. All right, now let's go over to the culprit. The one who's responsible for this whole mess. Colin Strickland. 34-year-old professional cyclist. Let's see what all was in his mind. And then we're going to go to the airport and see where Kaitlyn went to. All right, Spirit, we are still in a zip code of 78701 in Austin, Texas. We're no longer on the date of May the 11th. You can go to any date you can come to now, which is May the 30th of 2022, or you can go 6 weeks into the past, which will make it around April the 30th of 2022. What I wanted to know is, can you give me the energy surrounding Colin? Can you give me the energy surrounding Colin when he is with Kaitlyn? Oh, all right. This is quite a bit. So I'm going to take the top and the bottom. All right. And I'm also going to get the energy of when he is with Mariah. All right. Now, when he's with Kaitlyn, what we have is the Justice card. And this is long drawn out story about they're trying to get the woman in the middle to sign something, and one of them knows a secret about her, and she's scared if she doesn't sign it, her secret's gonna get exposed, yada yada yada. But this paperwork here is showing me they were in a 3-year relationship, and they were their names were on the same pieces of paper. So this could be like, I don't know if they were buying a house or they was co-signing on a car or something. But even though Colin, and I don't know why I keep wanting to call this man Colin, but even though Colin and Kaitlyn weren't married, they had a relationship that was had a paper trail, meaning, you know, they were buying things together, probably going on vacation together. It had been 3 years. I mean, just because you don't have kids together doesn't mean that the relationship isn't solid. So he was connected to Kaitlyn on paper as well. All right. And what else came out is the Page of Pentacles. Now, he, on this thing, he's supposed to be doing some kind of alchemy to where he turning stuff into other stuff. You know, where they try to turn the base metal into gold, that whole thing. This, I almost thought this was the Temperance card, where you mix a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you get a whole new formula. But this isn't the Temperance card, but it is showing me that he was pouring into both of these cups the same. See, they both have the little smokestacks coming out. He was pouring into both of their cups with the same emotion or the same passion. Like one wasn't getting treated better than the other. You know, as far as like in the bedroom is concerned, or, you know, just being nice, he was treating them both the same as far as that's concerned. But he was on paper with Kaitlyn, meaning they had some, you know, probably brought some stuff together. Or, you know, planning a fancy vacation. Sometimes you be paying for them vacations forever before it actually happened. All right, but keep this here, because now I want to know, how did Colin feel about Mariah, who was the 25-year-old one that he was on and off with? And Spirit, like I said, we're still in the zip code of 78701. It's important to note that Mariah did not live in Austin. She was just there because she was participating in a race. So she was just in town and decided to have a quick little visit with her friend, Colin. So can you tell me, Spirit, how Colin felt about Mariah as of May? Did y'all see that it flipped? As of May the 11th of 2022. All right. Now this story, I'm not going to get into the whole story. But as you can see, this ship here is going down. This ship is going down, and there's a whirlpool. There's a whirlpool in the middle. And there's another ship over here. You see these two lights are trying to signal to this ship over here. Because this boat's going down. It's going to get sucked into there. But trying to signal to this other boat, like, you know, can I maybe get on that boat? Because this boat is not going to be here much longer. So this is kind of telling me that even though he was treating them the same, the relationship with Kaitlyn, somehow he knew that it wasn't going where he was wanting it to go. So this is kind of in a way like him signaling to Mariah, like, hey, you know, this ship's going down. Can I maybe get on your ship? You know, like that kind of thing. So he was keeping Mariah as an option. All right. All of that to clarify the first 4 or 5 cards. Now let's go to the airport. All right. Spirit, it is no longer May the 11th. It is now May the 14th of 2022. 35-year-old Kaitlyn Armstrong has murdered 25-year-old Mariah Wilson. She's hopped a plane and she's gone to LaGuardia Airport in New York City. LaGuardia is located on the corner of Ditmars Boulevard and 94th Street in East Elmhurst, Queens. And the zip code of 11371. We're now at LaGuardia Airport. All right, so we got 2 cards so far. Let's get at least one more. We are at the airport in New York City. We're in the zip code of 11371. We're with Kaitlyn. She has murdered Mariah and headed out of town. We're wanting to know where she is headed to. All right. So we have our 4. Well, we have our 3. Okay, so the first one that came out was the 5 of coins. And as you can see, he's kind of stuck out there now. I'm not going to say he looks pretty homeless. You know, can't go back where you came from. There's kind of nowhere to go to now. That's the energy of this card. And you see this in the background? That's like, it looks kind of like a prison right there. This is right there in the background. This is signaling that in Kaitlyn's mind, when she's caught, and she will be caught, she's going to get sent to the big house. Why can I never get this light right? Yeah. Like, this is the big house. She's right behind her mind. It's like in the back of her mind, she knows she's made a terrible mistake. All right. Ooh, up next is the 8 of coins. And this is somebody with a secret stash, a hiding spot. But I'm thinking the thing that's actually being hid is not the coins, but this is her hiding herself. Very clever, this one. And I'm going to clarify this because I'm going to ask Spirit, where is the hiding place? All right, but let's see this one. Oh, look at him. This is the energy of Colin now. This is him sitting up right here. You know, all the cups, these 3 cups are knocked over. You know, it's the poor me pity party thing. You know, he's at this point, he didn't get either. He didn't get either one of them. Mariah's dead and Kaitlyn's on the run, soon to be in prison. So he's sad right there. We're going to ask what his next move is and if he's been in contact with Kaitlyn. Because they were together for 3 years and there may still be some loyalty left in this relationship. We don't know. All right. So let's go to this one that shows Kaitlyn thinking about having to go to prison when this whole thing boils down. And to do that, we're going to use the Tarot in Wonderland deck. Now, Spirit, we are now in the zip code of 11371. We are in New York City. It is today's date of May the 30th of 2022. All right. Kaitlyn is on the run. We have the Queen of Swords that came out. I was about to ask how was she feeling, but as we can see, she is still pretty upset. The Queen of Swords, but this is actually the Queen of Wands. It's not even the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Wands is very passionate. As you know from the Alice in Wonderland story, she's the Queen of Hearts. She always wants to cut people's heads off. She's just very irate. So even though she's on the run and thinking about having to go to prison, she's not very happy. And she's alone. Whoever she was texting and talking to while she was stalking a lady on May the 11th, she's no longer in communications. They just show her here with a cat, which is basically like saying nobody. Because cats are here and they're not here all at the same time. So she's in isolation. All right. So this is her being very clever. She's found the hiding spot. Let's ask Spirit where this hiding spot is. All right, and to do that, I'm going to go back to the Edgar Allan Poe deck. All Alright, now Spirit, you've shown me Kaitlyn Armstrong's energy as of today, May the 30th of 2022. Can you tell me where her hiding spot is? Is she still in New York City? Is she... Oh, alright. Oh. Now this is interesting. What came out in reference to where the hiding spot is? The Lover's card. And there is absolutely no buildings in this picture at all. The Lover's card. You know what this can be giving me the energy of? A married couple. Now, no one in our story was married, but she could be around a married couple. Maybe they have like a mom and pop bed and breakfast or something. I'm going to ask what this married couple has to do with Kaitlyn's hiding spot. Let's just cut straight to the chase. Alright. It could be her parents. I didn't research her whole story. For all I know, her parents could still be alive. Maybe she's in communications with them. Alright. Spirit, as far as Kaitlyn Strickland, as far as Kaitlyn Armstrong is concerned, she fled from the zip code of 11371, the LaGuardia Airport in New York City. She was there on May the 14th of 2022. Alright. This is quite a bit. Take the top and the bottom. And the other card that was left, there was 3 of them right there, is the Hierophant. Let me keep him right there for a minute. Alright. Now I was asking about this married couple and what they have to do with Kaitlyn's hiding spot. And this here, they're showing me like a lot of people now. She's not in like a little mom and pop bed and breakfast. This is a whole building. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And one of them's an older lady. I'm going to ask again, where are all these people? Like, we are in New York City, so, you know, it is a lot of people in New York City. But I'm going to ask where she's at, where all of these people are. Spirit, as far as Kaitlyn Armstrong is concerned, she fled from LaGuardia's airport and they lost track of her. You're showing me that wherever she is now, there are lots of people. There's married couples, there's young people, there's an older lady. Where is this place at that Kaitlyn Armstrong is hiding at with the people around her? She's like hiding in plain sight. Alright, so we got one car, another person. An angry man. But can you tell me where she is that has all these different types of people? Not in here? Alright. You know what? I want to look in this Nightmare Before Christmas deck. I'm trying to think. It's like it is New York City, so there are a lot of hotels and places for people to stay. But you show me a lot of people around wherever Kaitlyn Armstrong is at. Oh my goodness. All right. So what came out again is right here. Not again, but what came out is the Knight of Potions. What? This not a potion card. It's giving me the energy of the man, of the Colin Strickland. I wonder what his energy has to do with her hiding spot. I mean, we know he's sad and withdrawn because he lost both of his ladies. But this Knight of Potion card has the energy of him reaching out to her. I don't know if he's doing it so, Mariah's family can get justice or, trying to talk her down. Well, he's been Colin's been reaching out to her since she's left that airport. All right. All right, one more question. And to do that, we're going to go back to the new deck, the Edgar Allan Poe deck. All right, Spirit, you're not really showing me where she's at, and I really want to know where she's at. But I see that she's not alone, and she's in contact with Colin. Can you tell me what her plans are? Like, what is she going to do tomorrow? What are Kaitlyn Armstrong's plans? All right. Now, again, this is quite a bit. I'm going to take the top and the bottom. And these are on her plans to what she plans to do tomorrow even. All right. So the Seven of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. This card here it doesn't have her energy on it or Colin's energy on it. But it does have the it's like a defiant energy. The story behind this picture and this card is the red man thing here is supposed to be like the red plague or something. Like like a really bad disease. Kind of like a pandemic. So the red man is representing a pandemic, but the green man in his shirt has decided to throw a party, even though, there's a pandemic going on. So it has the energy of somebody, celebrating, even though you're not supposed to be celebrating right now. Like, it's a somber time. So she's just kind of gonna, she's not losing any sleep or missing any meals. All right. And the last card that came out as far as Kaitlyn Armstrong's plans as of tomorrow. It's not funny, but you see where this man here sitting at the table wearing the glasses, like he's trying to be he's trying to be like sneaky, but you still have to go out and eat. But he's in his little disguise and stuff. And also it's important to note that it doesn't look like she has the weapon anymore. So, I don't think you would have that weapon that you done went to the New York City airport. So, yeah, she's no longer armed. And she's not really hiding in the sense that you would think a person is hiding. Like, she's out among a lot of people. Like, she's definitely still in New York City, because they have shown me every type of personality under the sun as far as where she went when she got off that airplane. So she's still in New York City. I mean, she has that beautiful red hair. When I first looked at her, she reminded me of Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. It's just, a shame that she got involved in this love triangle she didn't want to be in. But she's hiding in plain sight, and she's still in New York City. And her and Colin have been in communication. All right, we'll leave it there. I am Cleopatra Wallace. If you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because who knows what's going to happen next.